Thank you very much once again to welcome you to Memo African Motives, whereby we are still under preparations and revisions. So now we are on part 2 of public administration and 4. So now, which we know very well that is a core subject under the course public management. So it is still the very same paper that was written in November 2024. So we are to finish up. Our part 2 is question 6 and 7. So we are to do question 6 as well as 7. So without wasting much time, you know very well there are instructions and information. So like we have already read the instructions, make sure that you don't make any mistake of not going through the instructions. So now let us quickly go to question 6 and attend it. Let's go quickly to question 6 and attend it. So question read as follows, as we are given now the scenario and they are to answer the questions that follow. This scenario read as follows. Citizens decide who will represent them in the parliament and who will lead the government at national, provincial, as well as the local level. They do this by voting for competing parties in the regular, free, and fair elections. An important principle of democracy is that of government by people. So now let us attend to the questions that follows. 6.1. Which institutions in South Africa ensures that our country has a regular, free, and fair elections? Which institution in South Africa ensures that there is a regular, free, and fair elections? So now let's go to the answer. And this is our question 6.1. So our answer, you know that institution is IEC, Independent Electoral Commission. So that is the institution that makes sure that there is a fair elections. So that this Independent Electoral Commission. So that is that. Now we are to go to question 6.2. The legislative institutions are highest institutions at every level of the government. Name 3 legislative institutions that are found in central, provincial, as well as local level of government. So we are to name 3 legislative institutions. Name 3 legislative institutions. So here are our 3 legislative institutions. That is national level parliament, provincial level, we know we have provincial legislature, and local level we have municipal council. So these are our three legislative institutions. Those are our 3 legislative institutions. So we know very well that with these legislative institutions at national level, we know the government, that is whereby the laws are that are made, they are going to affect the whole country. But with provincial government, you know that they make the government, they make the legislations, they make laws that are for provinces. So each province has got its own government that make the law, but the laws that they are making must not interfere with the ones for the national level. But with local level, we know they make what? The bylaws. So that is that. So let's quickly go to 6.3. 6.3 read as follows. Explain the government by people as a principle of democracy. Explain government by people as a principle of democracy. Government by people as a principle of democracy. So here is our 6.3, where we are to explain government by people as a principle of democracy. So that is, principles refers to the free, fair elections where all citizens can participate in elections without being forced to choose a political party. So this means that there must be what? A free, fair elections where all citizens can participate without being forced to choose a certain party. They can choose the party of their choice. That is that. Registered voters can choose the political party of choice, like we've already said, whereby you are not going to be forced to choose a certain party. That is what we mean when you say government by people, that principle of democracy. After elections, the party with majority votes can put together a government. So after the elections, we are saying a party with majority votes can form what? The government. So the party who has uh, the majority votes is the one that can choose the government that is going to govern the country. People of country are supreme. People of country are supreme through representative they elect to establish their government. So people of a country are supreme. They are going to be supreme through the representative they elect to establish what? The government. The government derives its mandate to govern from the citizens of the country. The government derives its mandate. So the mandate derives from the citizens of the country. That is why we are saying the government derives its mandate. The mandate of the government comes from what? The citizens of the country. So citizens as well can withdraw in this mandate if they are not happy with the government by voting them out of power in the next elections. So if they are not happy with the government, so the coming elections, they can withdraw. They can throw and go for another party or choose another government that they want it to represent themselves. The government serves the citizens of the country. So the citizens do not serve the government. That is that. The government serves the citizens of the country. So they government, they must what? Serve the citizens of the country. The citizens are not the one to serve the what? The government, but the government is the one to serve the citizens of the country. So hope we are together on that. Now 6.4. 6.4. 6.4 reads for citizens are part of permanent population in our country or state. Describe now four other characteristics of a state. Four characteristics of a state. Four characteristics of state. So that is that. 6.4. An internationally recognized demarcated geographical area. Remember, we are on characteristics of a state. So it is an internationally recognized demarcated geographical area. So meaning to say it is a defined territory with recognized borders. Meaning to say it is a defined territory with recognized borders. Whereby we can say, example, South Africa borders are internationally recognized. That is true. Also, the right to self-determination of nation. So the state has the authority to govern itself. The state has the authority to govern itself. Also, the state has an independent political entity. So the state has a sovereignty and independence. They have independence. Also, the state has international recognition. So the state is recognized by the international community. The state is recognized by the international community. So now we are to move on to question 6.5. 6.5. So 6.5, it reads as follows. Citizens play a very important role in involvement. Citizens play a very important role in involvement. Explain why the following role players are important in decision process of the country. 6.51 now, population or individual or citizens. Interest and pressure groups. So we are to explain why, why the following role players are important. These are the role players. Why are they important in the decision-making process of the country? So now we are to go and answer it. So that is our 6.541. That is our 6.541. So remember we're talking about the role players, whereby now we're talking about population, individuals, and citizens. So we want to know ways, we want to know the involvement in government. That is ways people get involved in the government. So 6.51 says, it is possible for all persons to get involved in government as South Africa is a democratic country. So it means in democracy, everyone has right to participate. It means in democracy, everyone has right to participate. Also, each individual must use the opportunity to try and influence decisions at all levels of government. Meaning to say, if we are to use opportunity to influence the decisions, citizens should take part in decision making. That is how we're going to use the opportunity to influence decision. Citizens should take part in decision making. Example that we can make. Parents attending a school governing body meeting to influence education decisions. That's what it means when you're saying each individual must use the opportunity to try and influence decisions at all levels of government. Then, direct ways of getting involved are by voting in elections, attending meetings, petitions, speech in public hearing, written submissions, and conducting members of parliament and or councillors. So we're talking about now what a direct ways of involvement. Direct ways of involvement here, where we are saying now, 14 petitions, conducting MPS and etc. Example, signing a petition against corruption in a local government. That's what this means. That is a direct ways of getting involved. So also we have direct ways are keeping oneself involved through the media, scanning websites, joining interest, pressure groups, joining political parties, publicly speaking out. That is indirect ways of involvement here. Because you've said these ones are direct ways of involvement. The one that we just explained. But with this one, you're saying what is indirect now. Indirect ways of involvement. Indirect ways of involvement. So this one, you are staying involved, joining groups, public debates. Example, following parliamentary updates on the news and joining political party. So that is that. So now we are to come to 6.52. So if you can still remember the question on 6.52, it says interest and pressure groups as what? As a role player. Interest and pressure group as a role player in the decision-making process of the country. Interest and pressure groups. So now you are on interest and pressure groups. So with interest and pressure groups, it says voluntary associations that act on behalf of its members. Role of voluntary associations. So here we are talking about the role of voluntary associations. Associations or pressure groups. So they are going to act on behalf of members. They are going to act on behalf of members. Groups represent citizens' interest. Groups represent citizens' interest. Example, a teachers' union fighting for better salaries. You see, that is what you're talking about. Also, an interest group can become pressure group if it exercises pressure on government to improve, for example, service delivery now. So here we are trying to what? Exercising pressure. We are trying to exercise what pressure now? Exercising pressure. Exercising pressure. So here we're talking about the groups. Groups push government to improve services. Example, a transport association pushing for safer taxi regulations. Hope we are together. Also, services can be improved when pressure groups are involved. We are talking about improves services. We are about improve services. So we're talking about improve services. More pressure means better delivery. That is, more pressure means what? Better delivery. Remember, we are talking about the pressure groups. Also, moving on, individuals have more power when they join interest and pressure groups to put more pressure on public institutions by protesting or having public meetings now. So that is when you're talking about more power in groups. Talking about more power in groups. More power in groups. So you're talking about more power in groups, whereby individuals gain strength by joining. For example, students uniting in a protest for reduced fees. So that is that when you're talking about more power in groups. So now we are to move on to 6.6. We are to move on to 6.6 now. So 6.6 reads as follows. The Constitution recognizes the institution, status, and role of traditional leaders. So a council of traditional leaders is established at the national level. So 6.61 says, describe the composition of council of traditional leaders. 6.62, explain how the council of traditional leaders benefits communities. So composition of the council of traditional leaders. Composition of the council of traditional leaders. Composition of the council of traditional leaders. So here we are, 6.61. Under the composition of traditional leaders, we have what a chairperson and 19 representative forms what the composition of the traditional leaders. They are elected by electoral college. Constitution provides for establishment of this council of traditional leaders. So the members of constitution, the members constitute the members of the houses of traditional leaders of different provinces. So hope we are together on that. So we were also asked to explain how the Council of Traditional Leaders benefits traditional communities. How do they benefit traditional communities? How do they benefit traditional communities? That is that. How do they benefit traditional communities? That is 6.2. So they benefit traditional communities by advise and make recommendations to the national government with regards to any matter pertaining to traditional authorities and indigenous law and custom. They also advise the president on matters of national interest. They have right traditional leaders to even advise the president. The traditional authorities have the power to delay the parliamentary bills in respect of traditional needs. They can delay that in respect of their needs. They are the representatives body for traditional leaders in the parliament. Any parliamentary bill pertaining traditional authorities indigenous laws or traditions and customs of traditional community must, after being passed by the house in which it was introduced, and therefore it is introduced in order in other house of parliament, be referred to the council for comment, advice as well, and support as well. So now we are to move on to question 7. So here we are on question 7. So the question 7 read as follows. Discuss the following institutions are so important for our government. We are going to talk about public protector as well as Auditor General. 7.1 is public protector. 7.12 is what? Auditor General. Auditor General. So we are talking about public protector and Auditor General. So that is question 7. 7.1. We're going to start by 7.1. 7.11. Here are our answers under 7.1. Here we are. We want to know the role of public protector. Where we want to know the role of public protector. So the public protector receives and investigates complaints from the public against government or state agents or officials. So they investigate what? Complaints. Public protector investigate complaints. They investigate complaints. They investigate complaints. Investigates complaints. How do they investigate complaints? That is whereby they're going to look into abuse by officials or state agencies. They are going to look into abuse by officials or state agents. So, example, whether they are investigating unfair dismissal by a government department. So that is the role that they play. They public protectors. Again, investigate any conduct in the state affairs or public administration. So they investigate improper conduct. They also investigate improper conduct. So that is that way they are going to look for dishonesty and abuse of power. Example, exposing misuse of public funds by a mayor. So they investigate improper conduct. Also, must report on that conduct to the public. So they report findings to the public. They report findings to the public. They report findings to the public. So they ensure transparency. So publishing a report on corruption in ESCOM. That is that. Also protecting citizens from abuse by political and public officials. So they protect citizens from abuse. Protect citizens. They protect citizens from abuse. Protect citizens from abuse. Meaning to say they safeguard against rights violations. By trying by all means, example that you can be protecting a whistleblower who reported fraud. To protect the whistleblower who reported fraud. That is why they protect citizens from abuse. That is that. Also may not investigate any court decision. So that is that. So now we have to move on to 7.12, where we wanted to the role of Auditor General. 7.1.2, we know the question was to give the role of Auditor General. So here are the roles that are played by Auditor General. So Auditor General, they audit and report on the accounts, financial statement, and the financial management of all national, provincial, state departments and municipalities. So they checks if money is managed properly. So that is what they do. They check, they check if money, is managed properly, is managed properly. That's what they do. That's what they do, because you see, they audit and report on accounts, financial statements, financial management of all national, provincial, as well as state departments and municipalities. So they check if money is managed properly. So that is that. That is where I can audit municipalities' budgets use. So that is what they see. Also to audit and report on the accounts, financial statements, and financial management of any institution that is funded from the National Revenue Fund, Professional Revenue Fund, and by the municipality. So they audit national and provincial funds. They audit national and provincial. They ensure accountability in large funds. Also, to audit and report on the accounts, financial statement, and financial management of any institution in terms of law, to receive money for public response. So here we're talking about the audit institutions using public funds, even non-profits, if they receive public money. So they have to be, we can talk about checking of an NGO funded by government for school feeding schemes. They also have to audit that. Also, to perform any other functions prescribed by national legislation, and all reports are made public. So reports are made public. Reports are public, promotes openness. So it means promotes what? Openness. So now we are to attend to question 7.2 and see what 7.2 want. 7.2 reads as follows: discuss 5 objectives of local government in South Africa. Discuss 5 objectives of local government in South Africa. So let us attend to 7.2. So here are the answers for 7.2. 7.2, where we are to discuss objectives of local government. So it says local government, that is to provide democratic, accountable government for local communities. Meaning to say, they provide democratic and accountable government. They bring government closer to people. Meaning to say, they bring government closer to people. They bring government closer to people. That is, for example, we can say local councillors reporting to their communities. So that's what we are saying. Also, to ensure the provision of service to communities. So they ensure services to communities. Whereby they deliver water, sanitation, electricity. So that is that. Also to promote social and economic development. They promote social and economic development by creating jobs and uplift what? And uplift communities. For example, municipality opening a local skills center. You see, that is how they are going to uplift the communities. Also, they promote a safe and healthy environment for communities. Promote safe and healthy environment. That is whereby you protect public health and safety. Also to encourage now the involvement of communities in the matters of local government. So you encourages what? Involvement of communities. This is whereby now you're going to let citizens influence local issues. So for example, public consultants before building a new road. Public consultant before you can build a new road. So now let us move on to another question. We were on 7.2, then we are to attend 7.3. We are to attend 7.3. So 7.3 read as follows. Explain the importance of the Supreme Court of Appeal using the following headings. Composition of the Supreme Court Appeal. Functions of the Supreme Court Appeal. So composition of Supreme Court Appeal and functions of Supreme Court Appeal. Composition of Supreme Court Appeal. Composition of Supreme Court Appeal. That is in 7.3. So composition of Supreme Court Appeal. This is whereby now we are going to have what? President, Deputy President, accept Chief Justice, Deputy Chief Justice in place of President and Deputy President. So we're going to have what? The Chief Justice. So in place of President as well as Deputy President. Number of judges of appeal appointed by President. Seat in Bloemfontein in South Africa. Judges can be removed from the office due to misconduct, incapacity, or incompetence by 2/3 majority of the National Assembly. So these are the answers for 7.31, where we are talking about the composition of Supreme Court of Appeal. Now we want to know the function of the Supreme Court of Appeal. Functions of the Supreme Court of Appeal. So here are the functions of Supreme Court of Appeal. Here, the functions that they play Supreme Court of Appeal, they decide on appeals, issues connected to appeals, and any matter that may be referred to it by the Act of the Parliament. They also hear and determine appeals against any decisions of High Court. Also hear appeals from Magistrate Court. Hear appeals arising from criminal and civil cases. They also give verdicts on legal points. They are highest court of appeal in all cases except constitutional matters. So that these are 7.32. So now we are to attend to 7.4. We are to attend on to 7.4. 7.4 read as follows. Discuss why the role of municipal manager is so important in municipality. The role of duties of the municipal manager, that is in short that. Duties of a municipal manager. What are the duties of the municipal manager? So they're saying they act as a chief manager of the municipality. They act as a chief manager of municipality. So overall head, they are overall head. They are overall head. So because if you can give an example, they ensure city budget is properly implemented as a chief manager. Also ensures all assignments of local government are carried out. So ensures assignments are carried out. It means they are going to make sure services are delivered. They are going to make sure services are delivered. Make sure services are delivered. Also responsible for communication between local government and appointed officials. So So it means that you're still talking about communication with what? With government and officials, communication with government and officials. So they link council and staff, link council and staff. Also act as a custodian for the provincial government. So now we're talking about what? Custodian of provincial government. Act as a custodian for the provincial. So it means they ensures alignment with policies. For example, following provincial housing development plans. So that is that. It is also is the accounting officer of the municipality and must accept responsibility for the expenditure of the money of the community and accept financial control. So it means they are accounting officers. They are accounting officers. They are accounting officers responsible for finances, as they are responsible for finances. The head of administration responsible and accountable of an effective, efficient administration. So you're talking about head of administration. They runs daily operations. Example, supervising municipal staff performance and stuff. Also to carry out the municipality integrated development plan. So they carry out integrated development plan by what? By making sure that long-term community plan. Example, implementing a 5-year plan for better roads and clinics. So that is that. Also operating in accordance with municipality performance management system. So operating in accordance with the municipality performance management system. So that is that. Also respond to the needs of the local community to participate in the affairs of the municipality. So they are going to respond to the needs of the local community, participate in the affairs of the municipality. So they have to make sure that they are going to maintain discipline. The appointment of staff subject to Employment Equity Act. Now we're talking about staff appointments. So the staff appointments and training will recruit and develop staff. Recruit and develop staff. Management and effective utilization training of staff. Is that? Also, maintenance of discipline. So you maintain discipline, show proper conduct. This one you ensure proper conduct. Promotion of sound labor legislation. Promote of labor legislation, fair labor practices. For example, applying Employment Equity Act in hiring. So that is a promotion of sound labor legislation. Administration and implementation of the municipality bylaws. So here you are to implement what the bylaws, enforce municipal rules. Example, enforcing no smoking bylaw in the public spaces. That is what you're trying to say. Carrying out decision on political structures, political office bearers. That is that. So you implement decisions of political structure. So that is that. Also, implementation of national and professional legislature applicable to municipality. Also, developing and maintaining a system whereby community satisfaction with municipal services is assessed, whereby you develop service satisfaction system, measure service quality. Example, community survey on water supply reliability. So that is that. Now we are to move on to another question. Now we have to move on to 7.5. Now we are on 7.5. 7.5, provincial legislature has the power to control and regulate the affairs of the province. Describe now how the provincial legislature fulfills this role in the provincial government. So now you have to describe how provincial legislature fulfills the roles in the provincial government. how provincial legislature fulfills the role in the provincial government, or how they fulfill their roles in the provincial government. So here are those functions. Functions in a similar method as a parliament. So it has continuous sessions, but each legislature determines dates and times. Each legislature has a speaker and deputy speaker. At a debate or discussion, one-third of those house must be present to take a vote, but on a vote of bill of majority members must be present. Bills must be introduced only by a member of executive council. Some of the most important matters over the provincial legislature has authority are that's when now we are going to talk about this. This is what we're going to talk about: agriculture, cultural affairs, education, excluding University of Technology and universities, health services, housing, language policy and protection services, public transport, tourism, local government, discuss and pass bills, gambling, except lotteries, environment, public works, regional planning and development, tourism, traditional leaders, and urban rural development. Also, they are going to discuss and pass bills. Decisions are made by voting, also may determine control in its own internal affairs. Members have freedom of speech and debate subject to the rules of order. So now we are to attend to 7.6. 7.6. So 7.6 reads as follows. Name 4 types of auxiliary services carried out in the government institution. 4 types of auxiliary services. 4 types of auxiliary services. So the types of auxiliary services are research, conducting public relations, providing legal services, notification of functions, constructing and maintaining information system, data collection and processing and retrieval. So this is the end of the presentation. Make sure that you're going to share with those who are concerned, and please don't forget to hit a subscription button. Thank you.